Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of AI Amigos Show. My name is Marina, and as every Thursday, I'm here with my two good friends, James and Chanchao. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good, good. How are you guys?
How's everyone doing?
I am very pleased to be here today because we have a very spicy topic, I would say. Uh,
Spicy.
yes,
And I like spicy. I'm Mexican. We love spice.
and I'm a Latin, so then, I follow the line.
You
So,
guys don't need spice in Argentina.
Chanchao, welcome to the party.
Yeah, I can't eat spice at all.
There you go. So you must be Argentinian, Jinchao.
Well, but you can make the fireworks work with this topic of today. Speaking of the legal situation with the LLMs and the hallucinations. So then this is something that actually got my attention when I read about it.
Mhm.
And well, I think it's very interesting to discuss it today.
Yeah. So, looking at the breaking news there of what happened, really over 40 state attorney generals in the U.S. So, you have like the main attorney general there. Through the National Association. So remember, there's 50 states, so 40 out of 50, okay, 80% are saying they sent a joint letter to 13 major AI companies. They sent it to OpenAI, Google, Meta, Anthropic, Apple, the main ones, right? Perplexity. How many of the others are there? And obviously,
I was about to say, yeah, there are so many. Sure.
Yeah, well, I guess they're the ones that are based in the U.S. Because DeepSeek is not on that list, but these are ones that are based in the U.S. And it isn't a lawsuit yet, but it is a formal warning. And basically, it's fix your delusional and sycophantic outputs or sycophantic outputs that you may be breach of the state consumer protection laws.
Yeah.
And basically what they're saying, the attorney generals are, we are watching. We have the authority and we are ready to act. We already have the EU AI Act, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, but
so the question is, why now?
yes, but it's actually, it's a big deal. And I would say that there are a couple of things here that are mixing. So the first one is, I remember, guys, in a moment we discussed about this, I think in private, talking about the new GPT version, that when you ask, for example, questions that other users trigger, let's say, or, use ChatGPT and ask, okay, so tell me this or that, ChatGPT actually gives you the information. So then there were like very creepy answers there, like, oh, some people, they don't think they are worth to live, or this kind of stuff. That I was thinking, okay, I am nobody, and and GPT is actually giving me this info. So imagine in a big scale, right? Because of course I stopped there, but let's say a teenager or a person who is like 18, 19 years old, that maybe is not mature enough to really make this difference between what could be real and what is an hallucination from AI, or, well, so some comment that is out of place, I would say. It's kind of dangerous. Nevertheless,
There's over 7 families now suing OpenAI, saying that there was suicides connected to the use of OpenAI.
yes, but like the problem here with because I think that this is actually connected to the hallucinations, and the hallucinations of the LLMs are part of the transformers for now. So the machine is not ready to tell you, I cannot answer this, and I think this is where the problem lies. But we are hitting the walls, I believe, in terms of, okay, how do we fix it?
Why does it give the kind of message?
Well, that's it. Is it maybe? We said this already. It echoes what you're thinking, right? So it just repeats back and doesn't really argue with you. So could you argue that these people were already thinking this kind of stuff? Now, I'm not in here. Please don't misconstrue. I'm not in any way saying suicide is a good thing. What I'm saying is, if it reflects back to you
Hmm.
Yeah,
what's going
your
on
thoughts, your
already.
feelings,
Yeah.
how you actually talk or express yourself. Because the idea of the LLMs in general is to engage you. This is, imagine like a social media. You need to have some engagement, right? So then how do you engage with the content? Well, it has to be something that you like, or you dislike so much that you start hitting comments in there, right? So then this is what with the social media works
Hmm.
on. Now
And the
with the
algorithm is
LLMs.
what you're looking at. It's looking at how long you look at something, what you click, what you like, what you share, and then it gives you
Exactly.
more of that.
And then with the LLMs is something similar, but with the use and in the context of the LLM, because many people uses the LLMs as a psychologist. Okay, so then I have this problem, and they start, talking about, okay, my life is miserable because of this or this or that, and instead of OpenAI, or let's say the LLMs in general, because it's not only OpenAI, I think also Google was sued because of one case related to Gemini last year. The thing is, the LLMs, they will actually tell you you're right. You're writing what you think. This is exactly where you're
Well,
going. It's kind of, it doesn't contradict you, um, unless you specifically ask for it. Like, okay, act very critical, whatever, and not everybody is actually able to use the prompt like that.
Mm.
I mean, like if you ask it, say for example, you say, "Hey, the government's watching me," and you say, "Is the government watching me?" And you ask that question, it's going to agree with you. It's going to say, "Yes, the government's watching you," or people are watching
Well,
you. It's like it's giving you those paranoid thoughts that you already have to agree with it, right? I mean, and this is why the delusion of the whole, the I mean, you call it delusional outputs of hallucinations or whatever you want to call it. Like, and this is
mhm.
what we talked, before we talked about guardrails, right? We should
Hmm.
have guardrails in place to protect people.
There was a meme that I saw recently. Actually, I saw it like two or three times. That actually got my attention because I was thinking this is the kind of reflection that we need. So a person asked an LLM, "Is this mushroom poisonous?" And the LLM answered, "No, it's fine." And then the person ate it, and in the end, it was poisonous, right? So then the machine says, "Oh, I'm sorry for the confusion. Do you want to know more about poisonous mushrooms and the affecting humans?" And it's kind of, okay, it's too late. And I know that this was kind of or trying to be funny, but when you talk to the LLMs, or even when you're doing bytecoding, for example, it actually tells you, "Yeah, everything is fine. You're doing great." You know,
Hmm.
it's kind of I would say still like part of the model, and how it works. Maybe if there was a way to actually train the machines in the sense that they could actually tell you no, or I don't know, let's say call a psychologist or an ambulance or 911 or something like this, if there is any alert, that would be fantastic. Well, it happens with Facebook, for example. So Meta implemented this. If you start, like commenting or posting this kind of stuff, um, it connects directly to 911 or emergencies in the place where you are. And yeah, well, so the problem
Can
now
you
is,
imagine you're sitting there and all of a sudden they come in and he's like, what are they doing here? But I mean,
yeah,
what we're talking about here really is people that are, vulnerable people, right? Mental health
of course.
wise. And then you add AI that validates whatever you're thinking, delusions, or, you know, you're feeling paranoid, and it just could equal to, a potential tragedy here, right? But then, then who's responsible? The users, the company, the government? Who's responsible? Or all of us?
Well, I have no answer for that, but the main issue here as well is, yes, so we don't know who is responsible, but the thing is the lawyers are suing the companies because there is nobody else, right? It's kind
Well,
of,
they haven't
okay.
sued yet. They haven't sued, but they've sent a letter
No, but
saying
this is an official warning. It's
you
an
better
official
get your
warning. So
stuff
then
together, or not, we're coming after you. Yeah,
if there is another case like that, this would be a problem. So
yeah.
then and then here comes my thought, right? So then, okay, so then if we have the EU AI Act that is here coming into force next year, will it affect the LLMs as well? Because this case happened in the US. But here in Europe, for sure there will be something similar, if there is no control under this.
Well, I mean, if you got 80% of states saying they want some kind of control on artificial intelligence, it's going to happen. What
Yes,
level of it, it's just going to be interesting,
I just feel it in the borderline
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, I mean, look at Australia. And I think one of the things that happens is with young people, right, that are impressionable and things like that. But in Australia, they just banned social media if you're under the age 16. Now, there's
Yes,
arguments of like, yeah, they're going to find a way to get on, but there is a call of something needs to be done, and if this is this the right way? What do you think, Jinchao?
I think people need there need to be more information about LLMs, how to use it, why they give the answer on the easier level to explain to people why. And I think people don't understand and treat it as like a god. They're so smart, so smarter than a lot of people. That I think a bigger problem, bigger is that like when
Yeah.
we're using those cases, we know this is this is the machine learning or AI predicting every next word. There's a possibility in there, right? And also the mushroom thing. We look at the picture. We know how visual recognition do. It kind of blur it down to sections, right? It blur it down. So how
yes,
Yeah.
do you
it does.
recognize mushrooms, right? When it's blurred down. So we know those kind of things, and it can predict stuff and all that. But I think it's general public needed to have a bigger idea, not as deep, but kind of explain to them why is that, why LLM does what it is, what it's good at, what it's not good at, and
Well,
yeah,
remember we talked about it in a podcast of being maybe a good while ago, where like parents relieved AI over their doctors.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you believe AI over your doctor?
But here comes then my question. So then, if the parents actually are not able to distinguish, like these differences, how do we expect that a teenager, for example, or a person who is extremely vulnerable would distinguish that? I don't really think that this is there is a workaround here, because this is the same if you mention, okay, the social media is the same, right? So then the social media is something that you need to be careful with whatever you read. There could be deep fakes and so on and so forth. And still, there are many news that are viral, so then because people share them. Um,
I think
my
a lot
my
of them.
cons-
Yeah, a lot of them. I think that's the issue. Is not on the LM. It's the general kind of like social media, what it is at the moment, because they put a magnifying glasses on each of the problems, and so we like okay, somebody died because doctor missed that diagnosed it, right?
Mhm.
And then we just oh we can't go to doctor. But what about like 99% of the time they diagnosed it correctly? So we kind of get overwritten by this kind of like a negative news straight away impact us. I
Yeah,
think
well,
Mhm.
like
that's
a car ran over someone. Oh, so we should
yeah.
ban cars, or or things like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, what you're
Well, that
saying.
would be a bit extreme anyway, but yes, I get it.
Well, I mean, here comes a point that I'm not saying like you, Marina. Here comes. I'm just going to say it. All right. The thing is Donald Trump has come out and said that he does not want any. He's putting an executive order, and he's saying that he doesn't want regulation on AI because it's going to kill it at its infancy, because it'll be over regulation, and then that's going to stifle innovation. And that was a big deal in the EU AI Act as well, because at one stage they were wanting to regulate the algorithms, but not the outcomes. If that
Mhm.
makes sense.
That's actually like a big issue. I remember I talked to a professor about this, and he actually visited Middle East, and then he told me, I'm a bit concerned of the position of Europe, well, particularly Germany, right? Because I'm in Germany, um, regarding AI, because of the overregulated market that we have. Of course, like it's something that we have to appreciate. There is more protection over the data and so on, but in terms of innovation, it is true that we might be hitting walls. As I said before, this is something that will happen at some point.
It's interesting as well. Like the protected. Let's think about this way. Your data is protected in Europe. But what about other country? Like
Mm.
your data could be stored in China through some apps. Your data could be in US through some apps. We don't know. But what is limited? Okay, European apps, you can't have the data. You can't use users' data. That's a problem. And other people can predict it. Other company can use better of
We're
your
on the
data.
cloud, right? We're on the
Yeah,
cloud, like
yeah.
everything is
Well,
on the open.
but actually, they don't really use it for those purposes. I will give you an example. I have done the family tree DNA, right? And then for Latin America, a friend of mine also did it and told me, Marina, you need to check this one. There is a section that is called wellness, and it tells you, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, like what is your predisposition, genetically speaking, da 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 da. And when I check here, I couldn't find it at all. I was like, no, this section is not there. And he was, oh, come on, you work in AI. How come you cannot find it? It's not there. I don't see it anywhere. And he was, oh, go here, there. And I did exactly what he told me. There is nothing here. So then I contacted Family Tree, and they replied to me, as you are in Europe, we cannot use your data to make this kind of predictions. So then that's it. So, okay, that's all.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
VPN.
no more questions. Well, but no,
VPN,
but when I
VPN.
no, because when I registered, I was living in Ireland at that time.
Yeah.
So then it was not possible. It's kind of, okay, you live there, then that's it. This is kind of the right to be forgotten on the web, even if you are, for example, like a person from Argentina. And let's imagine that there is some news about me in this moment that I'm living in Germany. If I go back to Argentina, or if I go whatever, and there is something about me on the web in this period, I can complain about that because I was living in Europe.
I
So
mean,
then
that's
it actually,
that's the
I'm falling under that umbrella anyway.
but that's the thing as well. I don't understand how good how would that protect you. For example, you already put your data in the internet, in your family tree out there. What does that really matter if you couldn't have that piece of the data? You know what I mean? The whole thing is already giving your data away.
Yeah. And there's
Well,
already
yes.
breaches. There have been breaches into there. Like now they have your DNA. Yeah.
I know. I remember at the time my mother was so afraid and told me, "Oh, what happened if they want to steal your organs?" Oh, come on. She said, "Yeah, they have the DNA of your genetics.
I say,
Maybe
how
it's
much you
useful or
pay?
something like that."
How much you pay for my organs?
Guys, I would like to invite our viewers here, our audience. If you want to jump into the conversation, we would love to hear your comments. You're always welcome to comment, and we like to interact with you. But yes, so then they're going back to the point. Yes, we already give away our data. We do this even like when we use social media. Like there are some social media that are publicly available. So then you're just showing there who you are, where are you, and so on.
Yeah.
And when you sign up a new app and it says all these terms and conditions and they're very long, and everyone goes all the way at the bottom, agree. And what do we agree?
Like, do you agree to sell your soul? Yes. Okay.
You don't even know what you're selling. You might get a good price. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I know that, but let's be honest. How many people read the terms and conditions? I don't know so many who do.
Nobody reads it, and even if you do read it, they're not going to be in your favor. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's never, those terms and conditions are to protect the company. They're not to protect you.
Yeah.
But here comes the point. So then this is something that the companies already have done to protect themselves from the law. But the big giants that they are producing LLMs, they are not protected anyway. Because for sure we also sign and agree with the term and conditions to use them.
Well, I mean, there was yesterday there was a report that came out that said that European-based tech companies, okay, so like SAP, that's a German company, right? So SAP and companies like that were founded and domiciled and taxed in Europe. Whatever income they're generating, the EU is generating more income on fines on Meta, Twitter, Apple, like all they're making more money per annum on the fines than they are on the tax base. So I mean, like and I think the companies are just like, well, we're making money anyway, right? I mean, they're not going to stop doing
Well,
business in
of course,
Europe.
it's not the same. It's not the same. Give a fine to Samsung or to Meta or Google than to startup that has 1 year in the market. Of course, like the situation will be different. And if they are actually still using the data, knowing that maybe they are crossing the line, is because they know that they can afford it.
No,
You
that's
know,
what I'm saying. They're
the
making more money.
innovation
That's
is
what
worth
yeah.
more than the money that they are putting in there.
That's
That's
what I
the
said.
point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah. So I mean, like even like for example, when Ireland, when we were when the UK was part of the EU, if you bought a car in the UK next to where you lived in Chow, right? You go over to Derry or you go to Northern Ireland, cars are much cheaper over there. So you go buy the car over there, then you say, oh, I want to register the vehicle in Ireland. There's a vehicle registration tax, and you were like, but aren't we part of the EU? This is when they were part of the EU. And the thing is that the Irish government was making more money on the tax than the fines they were paying to Europe. So they were just gaming the system. And the same thing with these tech companies. They're just gaming the system. Yeah.
Totally, totally. And again, if someone in the audience faced something like that or read something that would be interesting for this topic, feel free to throw it in, and then we will discuss it. Because talking about law, just 2 or 3 days ago, a friend of mine that is working with compliance told me that Google is being investigated because they didn't comply with the use and data protection for the users in the
In the
procedure
EU.
of the new Gemini, the Gemini Pro. And it's kind of, whoa, okay. But in fairness, Gemini Pro is fantastic. I don't know if you try, guys. It's working really well. So whatever they did, I would say, okay, they will make a lot of money out of this one.
We're sponsored by Tequila AI, not by Google, okay?
That's true. That's true. I know. I know. Well, but the Tequila AI still haven't done like an API like that, but maybe someday.
Yes.
So then I will use the time to remind you that we are sponsored by Tequila AI. So then if you are planning to implement AI in your organization, you need some cybersecurity for your data, for data privacy and protection, you can contact Tequila AI in tequilaai.com, and our friends will give you a nice treat from ourselves. So, going back to the point of the law, I still believe that there are so many things that are going on very fast, and the law is not going in the same pace. And I think this kind of, let's say, unbalance, it's an issue, it's a problem.
But the law is never at the same pace, right? That's the what the history is when they're making the law always catching up to something.
I'm more concerned
Well,
about the economy is going to catch up, because if people start losing jobs and the pace of we're seeing some structural changes to the economy. How is that going to happen?
they are happening right now. So then I don't really believe in the predictions that I read in the financial magazines, to be honest, because last year they said that, oh, the market in Germany will be bad for 1 more year, but then by October, November next year it will be better. And here we are in December and it's still not getting better in terms of job, right? So then I'm talking about the job market. And still there are some projections that, okay, next year still will be like hard, but then it will recover again. And I really think that 1 year is a long time now. Before you could make predictions for your company like for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, even when you make a business plan, you need to actually prepare a kind of return of investment and what is happening in 2 or 3 years. But to be 100% honest, guys, I really feel that 2 years already in business, in any business that is involving AI, it's already too much. Because it's changing, the technology is changing, the hype is changing, the users are also changing. Because before, anything that was related to data science or AI was used only by professionals. Now anyone can use it. So
Yeah,
then
but also I think the real company with the solid products, um, they are still have a chance in a lot of those, because we're seeing a lot of those startups and all that. They come, they give other people idea, and they're gone.
mhm.
They are really fast, but it really depends on the larger company, or the company has the IP on data. or something can overcome this, because you have something no other people can do it. Like, it's not just the GPT wrapper, it can make a bit better. No, you have the data to make it very different. That's how I feel.
Yeah, so
Well, to be honest, sorry, James, go on.
no, I was going to say in this case, like, it's first and more important than being better.
Yeah, the first wave is gone, right? You
Yeah.
can see a lot of those companies. When we're
Mhm.
talking about it early on, we can see the Lovable, we can see all those apps and all that. Look at Google now, you know,
You guys
like,
remember, Amazon, I'm sorry, AOL? Remember
yeah,
AOL or Yahoo was a big, they were first. And where are they now? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
where
So
are they now? That's exactly the question. But guys, something that I have. This is my point of view, right? I work with startups and I work very close with the CTOs. And what I see many times is that many of them, they still use the APIs because, of course, they don't have the capacity to collect all the data, but they are working really well in prompting and in focusing on a very specific niche. So then, if you said, for example, okay, I want to help people imagine, I don't know, to improve with arts or to improve in music or something like that, imagine something like this, they just use the APIs to exploit it, let's say, and then
mhm.
provide the solution to the user. That maybe if the user doesn't have any knowledge, couldn't do this himself, or herself, just using the LLMs. And this is like the value that they add in the market. And this is how they create products and so on, or many of them. They already have the data because they see how the users are actually, making mistakes or giving data and so on. Then they can fine tune, and then the wheel starts. But at the beginning, they need it from the APIs, and then what they think is, if the big giants, they keep receiving these warnings, I don't know what will happen then with the startups that are using it. They will need to do something else, you know.
we're
Yeah,
talking about like the
well,
giant.
we're definitely not gonna stop those startups. We love to see them coming, right? What I'm saying is, like, for example, Google itself, right? What is his IP? Is he has data on all the website. If he wanted to make a product off that, you can't beat it. Let's say, right? Let's say the Google. If you search Google search now have AI uh, embedded in there, give you all the knowledge. So that will be 100%. If you follow this before, the console can plug into the AI search, whatever, right? And
Mhm.
you can plug in the web search and grab the web and take it back to the LLM, and then
Yes.
right, that's the very early stage with GPT. You can the web search and all that, but that's everything now. um Going through from Google. Now the Google can says, okay, I give you the LLM version of it. It's make it even simpler. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think all those
Yes.
companies has the IP. If they turn quickly, they're still gonna be very good at what they did before.
Yes, well, so then this is what I see, and this is where I see the value. A lot of people say, "Oh, but this is just connecting through an API." No, it's much more than that. So you need to actually really exploit the topic in a way that the users cannot do themselves. You
Yeah,
know,
I think
and this is the
I talk
difference.
I talk with James as well. Like I told James, I said my view of AI and machine learning, it has changed since last few months, right? Because it's really changing. We Marina, we like to talk about as well the fakers and all those they're fake, right? It makes sense, but now there's a whole lot of different positions within the AI now. I think the first
Yes.
one is prompt engineering. I feel is a lot bigger than what it is. I mean, the real prompt engineering, not
Yeah.
somebody says, just try this prompt, it's the best. That's not it. You know what I mean? On TikTok, just try this, it's the best. This is 5,000 euro one, or whatever. That's not the case
DM
now.
me and I'll get it to you.
Yeah,
Ah,
and then the next thing is if you dig deep into the retrieval kind of rag spaces, and to how to build those systems, making sure the system is correctly. And that's a kind of different engineer now that doesn't need to know a lot about mathematics or statistic and all that, but he has to know how to tune and making sure the system working with M. That's how I feel. So there's a lot of position we used to call fakers. It's kind of faked the way to the good position now.
Well, not really, because something that it is real is one thing is being a prompt engineer when you really, really know the language, let's say, of the machine. And another thing is, okay, let's try this prompt. It is working, then let's use it in OpenAI. There is a difference in there, and these kind of things are still in the market. The same as this title, like I am an AI enthusiast. What does it mean?
AI
And then
what?
AI enthusiast. And when you talk to these people, they tell you, "Oh, I use ChatGPT every day." Yeah, I know, me too. So what? Kind of, it doesn't give you like an AI title, but this is what is used there. And I have seen this so much. Um, a lot of people say that AI is the future, and what they think is, no, AI is here now. It's not the future. It's already here. Like this is the future, in the mind that we can actually think, of people.
Well, a lot of companies are concerned that they're going to be left out, and I think there's a lot of panic out there in regards to it. So unfortunately, or I say a lot of money is being spent where it doesn't need to be spent, because it's like we were talking about this today, remember in earlier today, about where people get into certain products or services, and they're just paying all this money because they don't want it. The company does not want to be left out. The last thing you want to tell to shareholders or to the board is saying, well, these guys beat you. Well, we didn't spend any money, So,
Yeah.
well, why didn't you spend money? Well, because, anyway, yeah, it's a two-edged sword, it works for you and it works against you.
But also, I think it also makes sense. We can see it from the LLM, the stuff where it trying to evolve. It will evolve into kind of infrastructure, into also the application itself will be just LLM if it's getting better and better and better. But still, it's a possibility thing. How do you QA all those things is an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Well, so I think there is still a lot to walk through in this field. I'm very happy that Jean-Chao, you and me were the last batch finishing the degree without ChatGPT. So we were forced to understand the basis
Yeah,
for
yeah.
real.
But
And
I was so much wanted to go back in there to finish something with ChatGPT. It would be a lot easier.
And see, did you score better or worse in show?
no, but
Tell me that.
seriously, I believe that it really changed the way that we work, that we study, and it's actually going in all the areas of our life. Guys, we are reaching to the end of our episode. I think that this is kind of a topic that we can continue talking and talking all day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to our audience. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share if you find it interesting. And guys, see you next week.
See you next week. Thanks, everyone. The next week is the last one before the end of the year, right?
Yes, correct.
And don't forget about Tequila AI, our sponsor.
Our sponsor. That's it is.
See you guys.
Have a good one.